washout. This is the package that the washout comes in. This is all plastic. Feels kind of flimsy too, but oh well. I can't afford to buy a metal set yet. I will eventually. So we cut this dude apart. Dump it out here. Get our shims and bolts together. And the bolts. Now, there are a particular way that this thing goes together, so you have to pay attention. According to the instructions, this lip goes down towards the main gear, so this would be considered as the top. So that's where we're going to start from. Now, our washout arms, you put one of these brass shims on each side of it. So we'll put one on this side and one on this side. Press them in good. I'm going to put just a dab of this lithium grease in there, just a tad on each side. Just a little dab, not a whole lot. Put a little rub on this side and a little rub on this side. Put the bushings in the other one. They fit in there pretty tight. I'm pretty sure they'll loosen up over time though, if you know what I mean. A little dab in that one. A little dab in that one. Okay, now that's just so that the bolt and the shim will be able to, this shim goes inside there. There's two of these little shims. Now, the way that the washout arms fit on there is if you got your washout pointed like this, you got one arm goes here and one arm goes on the back side. Now, the dual boat hose where the linkage balls go, I'm going to actually put my linkage balls on the outside, but you put the linkage this way, it goes this way, so the short arm goes outward toward me and the long arm goes in the opposite direction. Put the shim in there. There's no washers, so we screw it in. Now again, I'm not using any glue or anything, any CA, so we're just going to tighten it up and see what it feels like. This is metal to plastic, so I'm not going to be tightening it up real tight. Just snug it up and make sure that it won't come out. Well, you can't make sure that it won't come out. Now that feels pretty snug, and wow, it'll loosen up. What's happening is the shims have to be pulled in there. Now that's a little better. Okay, now we're going to put the other one together. It goes together the same way. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to push them shims down there and in there a little bit. Get something with a little bit bigger diameter. 50 shaft. Make sure that they're pushed down good. Put the shim in. Get the old bolt. Make sure that the arm, well, it really won't matter now because they turn all the way around, so we can orient them when we get ready to put them on the helicopter. Now, there is one thing that you need to know. Make sure that the ball sides, which would be the long side, goes toward the inside of the swash, or the swash head, the hub, because the ball's going to go in this side and on this side. So make sure that you got the protrusions pointed toward the inside. Okay, this one's even tighter than the other one. But it is loosening up. Okay, and that's the way it looks like. Now we're going to put the ball in there. Probably should have done that before I put it together. Now the screws and the balls, if you notice, the ball has a little lip on it. See if you can see it. See that lip? Very small, but it goes toward the swash arm. So put the screw in there. Again, I'm not going to use any CA. Get it started. Get my Phillips head. Tighten that puppy up. Alright. That's one. Same with this one. Get the lip on the toward the swash arm. And actually this is the head block, not the swash. Screw the screw in, get it started. That beep was my timer. It was telling me that I need to put another coat of paint on my canopy. Tighten it up nice and snug. Alright, that looks pretty decent. Now we're going to take and put the linkage on here. Okay. If I've got the head block looking like this, then I want to put the linkage on with the elbow pointing towards me, like so. So take that, put a pin in. Now these pins fit pretty tightly, so you might have to take a pair of pliers or something to push them on in. And that's to be expected, because they don't need to be coming out. Do the same thing with the other side. Put the elbow toward me. Slide the old pin in. Now this is a stock build, so all of the parts are pretty much plastic. And later on, when I get a little money, I'll probably upgrade it to a metal head, metal grips, blade grips, metal head block, metal swash plate, and there's a fiberglass elevator that's out I've been looking at. Anyway, that's conclusion of the washout assembly. This is step 5 according to the book, and we'll start on step 6 just as soon as time permits. Thanks for watching. Okay, this is going to be a long-winded one. This is according to the manual, step 6, the mainframe assembly part 2. Actually, we're going to be assembling the elevator and the arms and stuff that go with it. And let's open it up, see what we got in the package here. Got the elevator. This is the top. You can see that that's the bottom, and this is the top. Bushings and balls. These are screws and linkage rods and the linkage ends. Bearings and shims or races here. Okay, there are orientations on some of these, so we have to be careful about which way we put them together. It's too bad they don't have them marked L and R for left and right. I do know this is the top that goes over the top of the crank spindle. So the manual says to use CA when you attach this pivot point to the frame on the screws, but I've noticed that you have to take this off in order to get to the crankshaft where the crank spindle fits on the top of the crankshaft. If you ever have to replace the bell or something like that, you have to take this off. There's no way to get to the shaft inside underneath here without taking this off. So I'm not going to put any CA on there to start with anyway, because I'm an easy flyer, I'm not a 3D flyer, and I'm just going to put it together to first hover it around and then check it every once in a while, make sure everything's tight, and what's not tight I'll make adjustment as necessary, which is add CA or super glue or whatever, more Loctite. So let's see what we got here. Okay, these arms fit at this point here, and the balls are pointed, the end balls are pointed this direction. that's the linkage, where the linkage rod goes on for the aileron. So these are called aileron arms. And we have one that goes on the other side as well. Like so. And the linkage ball goes on the tip ends of those. There's also a ball that goes on, I can't remember if it goes on the inside or the outside, but this is what the servo that fits in this tray, the arms come out and fit to the balls, and when you move the servo, this causes the aileron to move in the opposite directions like this. So we're going to get all our parts out and start putting this puppy together, and we'll take a look at it after I get them on. One thing I want to say is got 4 copper or brass, it's probably brass, what they're calling bearings. There's 4 of them, or actually there's 2 big ones and 6 smaller ones. The big ones go in the elevator arms, like so. Got one here, and then you have 2 in this arm, 1, 2, 2 in this one, 1, 2, and 2 in this one, 1, 2. Just wanted to point that out so that you'd know that the large ones definitely go in the actual elevator arm itself. Okay, this is a parts layout of what's in the bag for building the elevator arm. You got the elevator arm itself. I already put the bearings in it. You got 2 large bearings which go here when we get ready to put it on the frame, one on each side. Then you've got the aileron arms and the gears that go inside, bolt up to the assembly. Each one goes on one side. This goes on the this would be, if the helicopter was pointed like this, it would go on the right hand side if you're looking at it from the back, and this one would go on the left hand side looking at it from the back, and it would look something like that. This piece goes in the middle when you tie it together here, bolt it together, and you put 2 balls together and put it on this ball mount. And the reason is because you got one linkage that comes from the servo out to here, and then you got another linkage that goes from here out to the, I think it's the elevator system. But we'll take a look at that when we get there, and or the pitch, not the elevator. I just want you to see the little bitty parts too. We've got 7 screws and 2, 4, 6, 8 linkage balls, 2 small shafts, a shim, small shim, that's a washer that goes in between later on. Got 2 small shims, 3 larger shims, and the actual elevator arms that goes on the end, and then the linkage rod in the ends. And you got 3 screws that has a shoulder, a non-threaded area, and this one is a little bit longer. It goes in, well, actually it's the same size, so there's 4, and then you got 1 longer one that is a non-threaded area, and this one is threaded all the way up to the head. So we'll get it all together and take a look at it in a minute. Okay, we're going to assemble the elevator control arm. This little dude. I'm going to put all where the mold marks are. There's mold marks. I don't know if you can see them or not. I'm going to put the mold marks pointed down. So that's just preference. You don't have to do it that way. Now, these arms are exactly identical either way you turn it. Both of them. There's no difference whatsoever in the looks. So what you do, take it, put it on the end, take one of these push-in axles, rods, whatever, push it in there. You might have to take a pair of pliers and ease it down flush with the top of it. Actually, I'm going to back it back a little bit. Alright, and do the other side. Try to put an equal amount of protrusion on either side. And that's the way it looks. Okay, and now we get the Aileron control levers. That's these two. I'll leave that pointed down. And point them dogs out like this, and I'm going to put the balls on them before I put them together. So let me put a ball on each end, and then we'll be right back. Okay, I've put two of the balls on. I put the two end balls on, and notice that the shoulder side of the ball is toward the part. If you look at it, you'll see the little shoulder right underneath there. Always, the shoulder goes toward the inside, toward the part that you're attaching to. Next step is to take and put the balls on the insides of these two Aileron control levers. The balls will go one on this and one on this side, and they'll be left and right respectively. And I'll put those balls on, and I'll be right back to show you what they look like. Alright, I got the balls on. This is what it looks like. You got one left and one right. The balls are on the inside, like so. Looking from the back of the helicopter, this is going to be the left side, this will be the right side, and like this. And the next step is to build the elevator control lever, which is this puppy. I've already pressed in the two bearings, so I'm ready to put the ball on it. This one, I have to put two balls on this together, both of them with the shoulders pointing toward the part. And once I get that done, I'll be right back and show you what it looks like. Okay, a note to take in consideration. The nut that takes the two balls that goes on this elevator control lever, the screw is 10 millimeters long. The other ones are, I think, 8 millimeter long. Let's see. Oh, I take that back. There's one that's 12 and 6 that are 10. So this one's 12 millimeter long, and the single ball screws are 10 millimeter. That was a job getting that screw in there too. It was, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it was harder than getting just one started. So the next is building a linkage rod. Let me get stuff together, and we'll see if we can get that linkage rod started and see what it looks like. Alright, this linkage rod is supposed to be 66 millimeters long from the center of this linkage ball hole, to the center of this linkage ball hole. And one thing you want to take a look at, see those letterings? See those letters on both sides? Those letters go on the outside of the ball. So anytime you're building a linkage rod, make sure that the letters, when you get ready to put it on the ball, are facing outward. The reason is because there's a little bit of the hole is a little bit larger on this side than it is this side, and you can probably see that if you take a close look. See, it's just a little bit smaller on this side, and they put those letters on there so you can determine which side is supposed to go out. The letter side, the side that has the letters, and this is on most ball links, all the letters go toward the outside. So I'm going to measure this out, get my caliper out, and we're going to screw it in evenly, this many on this threads and this same amount of threads on this side, and get it 66 millimeters from there to there. So I'll be right back. Okay, that's not as close to 66 millimeters as I'm going to be able to get. Now, this they must have, Raptor or Thunder Tiger must have came up with a way to make those threads screw in the same simultaneously all the way up the ball. I did not have to use a pair of pliers to grip it in the middle and to screw it up. I screwed it openly, and it managed itself to get the same amount of threads on either side. So that's 66 millimeters and a 100th, 66.1 or 0.1, which is 100th of a millimeter. So I think that's close enough for now until we get ready to do the head adjustment and linkage adjustments. So that's it for building the ball link. See you in a short. Okay, this is the finished product. Notice the two balls. We put the linkage rod on the second ball, and fits good and snug. There's no need to ream it out or anything. It's not too tight, not too loose. It's just right. So this is the way it goes together. This goes here. This goes here. These will go here, like so. That's the way it all goes together, and we'll get all that, and we got to put it in the frame at the same time, so I'll have to get the frame up, and next will be adding this to the frame, and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, I've started putting the elevator in the correct position here. Got a couple notes for you. The two big bearings, one goes here, inside here. Oh, to get this in, I had to turn it a little bit sideways, stick it through, turn it a little sideways, pull it through, and then twist it to get it inside this area. One of the bearings goes in here, and the other bearing goes on this side in here. And these are the 10mm screws. There's 4 of these, so you shouldn't get them mixed up. One thing to note is this arm right here has to be 90 degrees parallel to the arm that these are attached to. It has to be at 90 degrees. And if you look in here, you'll see what I'm talking about. See? 90 degrees. Alright? I'm going to take the next step and I'll be right back to show you what I did. Okay, putting this arm on the left hand side of the helicopter, where the elevator is. First of all, we've got a long shim that goes in this section, like so, and then there's a flat washer that goes on right there, and then the short shim goes on the last. And then you take this and screw it into the hole like so. If I can get it started. Like that. And this ball link snaps on. Be real careful. Snap that ball link on.